We DX live again?
Yo, we here. We got fuzz on your face, man.
What is it?
There you go. It was a Euro fuzz from earlier. Euro's hoodie was all over the place.
Man.
You said that Euro sheds?
No, he had the Shetty hoodie on. He had the Shetty hoodie on.
Like I said, DX Live is unscripted even when you got fuzz on your face. But we got a very, very, very special guest. I'm very excited about this next MC, artist, entrepreneur, businessman, ghostwriter. We got Stack Lana in the building. What we doing? I didn't even think to bring my iPod Classic, but I got like my own personal best of Stack Quo playlist.
I want to say, first of all, this site always showed me love.
Had to
from the jump. From the beginnings. Like
I've been knowing Stat Atlanta since at least 2009, 8, something like that.
It was never a time where I ever worried about getting posted here. It was always love. You know what I'm just saying? Because y'all always support the dope shit. And that's why when I wake up in the morning, this is one of my go-tos. You know what I'm saying? Like, I go to this shit every day with this. You know, I see Justin, he told me where, I'm like, what? It's one of my spots. It's just like, you know, because I don't fuck with everybody's shit. You know what I'm saying? Because the article too whack and then like, just, you know, then they put corny shit up there. It's like, they just trying to get some click. This is clickbait. I'm not with that. So I fuck with y'all from Jump Street because y'all always fuck with me too.
We got Dame Ritter already in the comment section. Dame's like, has your jumper got yet?
Shout out to Dame.
Dame Ritter.
My dog Dame, man. What are you doing, man? He was in a beat for a minute. What you got?
He wasn't in the beat.
I said, hey, yo, I heard him in diss records and shit. I'm like, yo, I seen him at the basketball court. I'm like, yo, wait, what the fuck?
He cleared all that up with HipHopDX. It's a HipHopDX exclusive.
Do you know Jaron Benton, right?
Mm-hmm.
First of all, my last name is Benton.
Mm-hmm.
So Jaron used to, I first met him when I was, you know, getting started. He used to rap in my basement of my house. And that's when he used to sound just like Ludacris.
Oh, word.
He switched his whole shit up and got on the shit he was on.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, he was so smart to do that. He fell into his lane. That's why he was successful. So, you know, shout out.
That's crazy.
Love, but yeah.
I didn't even know that. That's crazy.
Dame does have a ridiculous jumper. I have to give him props. You know, everybody said they can ball, but Dame
can shoot. He got the old man game.
Yeah.
He definitely got the old man. I mean, I got the old man game because I'm an old man.
Dame gets mad though on the court, man. He's competitive. He get mad if your game did not show up with you that day.
Well, you know, hey man, listen, it happens to us all. You know what I mean? Even, you know, Kobe fell off.
He did.
Michael fell off. It happened.
Right. Word up, man.
Oh man, so what are you doing these days, Stat?
Well,
you've been behind the scenes, but at the same time, you could always poke your head out whenever need be.
Well, you know, like when I was doing music and I was on my artist shit, one thing I did not like was, you know, whenever you somewhere, people, it's like being a fish in a fishbowl.
Yeah.
That's when I realized I didn't really want to be famous.
Where you going, Nim?
You going home? Goodbye. Goodbye. But yeah, I realized I didn't want to be famous. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't want the fame. I just wanted the benefits financially, so that I could do whatever I wanted. But you have no privacy. You have no life. You know what I'm saying? And back when I was doing it, like, you couldn't cheat on your girl and shit because you get caught up. Back when I was rapping and shit, you know what I'm saying? You gonna get caught up because everybody know who you are and shit. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I see Stack Quo at the movie theater with some bitch. Oh, is that one?
Come on, listen. If Tiger Woods could do it
for
a good decade run, and we're talking like 40 different sevens. And if you can do it, you can handle it.
It's so crazy. I remember discussing Tiger Woods with somebody that's kind of on that level, and we just were like, "How the fuck did that happen to him? That's like you just have no control of your situation." Because he had enough money to make that go away.
Right. Shut up. But
it was his arrogance that allowed him to get caught up.
But at the same, I don't think he was. You know, he might have been dogging, but he wasn't wired to be a dog either.
No, but he is a dog. I mean, because if anybody been around him, his conversation, you know, that golf talk get kind of crazy.
That's it right there.
Don't get it twisted. The golf talk is on the level of football locker room talk. You know what I'm saying? What Trump and Clinton and them motherfuckers be talking about on the golf course, it be some real, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so she was sucking my dick in the back of the Lincoln, right? You know what I'm saying? They be, you know what I mean? They get some real, it's some real...
Grab him by the pussy.
Exactly. It's some real disrespectful shit going on. Because it's an arrogance of, like, you know, it's a superiority, first of all, that they playing their game. And that they out there because you feel a different type of way.
It's the line, dude. That's all it is. I'm telling you, America doesn't hate criminals; they hate liars. That's what. The same time when Tiger.
But look at Trump.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Trump is Trump didn't show himself as like, oh, I'm this super golly swell guy. He's been a dirtbag for a long time.
He's not a liar though. What he did was he was smart. He ran his campaign like a wrestler.
Oh, he for sure did.
He did, like, he's a wrestler. We love that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We love that. Americans love that shit. And then he appealed to a sector of the population that felt like they had not been represented.
No, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, they're still not represented.
Exactly.
In fact, they're less represented than
Yeah,
ever.
because he's not one of them.
He lied to him.
He lied.
He's not one of who.
He's not what they think he is.
Oh, he lied to him.
He lied to him.
Yeah.
Right.
He's not a racist. No. He's not a racist. He's an elitist. It's not about your race. It's about how much money you make.
Status.
It's his status. He don't give a fuck about what color you are.
That's that quote.
Long
He's
as
hanging with
if you got the money, you can go. It's about your bread. Where you at? What's your tax bracket in? He's an elitist. He has no love for the poor. You know what I'm saying? The most underrepresented motherfuckers in America is poor white people. Because it's the largest sector. Because they're confused. They have been led to believe because of their color that they're superior, and they don't adhere to the programs and shit. So they think they're superior, and then they just get left out in the cold because there's nothing for them.
Right.
Because they believe, oh, I'm white. You know, because it's hard to believe that you're not everything when you got the Jesus on the wall. If I grew up and seen the Jesus and Santa Claus look just like me, my mentality would be a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? Jesus walked on water. If he looked like me, I'd be like, well, I can do that shit too. See what I'm saying? Oh. So as a white person, when people be like, man, you white superiority, how can you not feel superior when you see a man on the wall that everybody worships that walks on water that looks just like you? I don't blame white people for feeling like that because they've been conditioned. They should. The fuck is going on?
Thank you.
You should feel superior.
Jake killed Jesus.
Like, wow.
Jay definitely got the superior power.
he's like, why do I feel this way? Now status broken it down for me.
Jay does have a superior collar.
But you guys see what I'm saying though about like, I'm not saying about like he doesn't like he's an honest guy. I'm just saying like Tiger presented himself as yeah. Barkley, you know, when he got busted the same year, Officer House just gets ahead. Right. He always said, "I'm not a role model."
You weren't surprised when Barkley.
That's why we're not mad at him. We hate liars.
You can't
more than criminals.
Okay. You know what opinions are.
What do you think about? What do you end up thinking of Compton, man? I know you worked on a lot of things with Aftermath. You talked about forever. You didn't think Compton was good?
Shit was whack.
Yeah, what was whack about it?
Preaching.
I love Dre to death.
Preaching.
Shit was whack.
You heard that, Euro? Compton's whack.
Yo, this how this shit work. This how it goes.
Just still a banger.
This how music goes. This how you know your shit good. After 2-3 months after they come out, that's when you know it's good. And there's nothing wrong, you know, shit. It's not that it wasn't put together quality wise. It's not that it wasn't quality beats and shit like that. It just, when you talk about, it didn't capture the attention of the world. The only reason it got where it was because the movie was so phenomenal. You know what I'm saying? And that's like no diss. I think when people be like, you don't like something, they feel like you're dissing it.
Exactly.
I love Dre. He's my everything. And I helped on the album, you know.
Compass?
Yeah, but that don't mean it's the shit. Just because I helped. You know what I'm saying? We fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, shit, like, you know what I'm saying? Motherfucker, you know when there's some shit.
That's real.
Because when he comes out or somebody have him come out and do a song, they don't ask him to do any of those songs. If he goes on tour, he's not gonna perform any of those records. The only record on there that's gonna stand the test of time that's dope, and because it's surrounded by so much just subpar shit, is Diary. Everything else is like
Has Dre, have you had that conversation where he's like, yeah, all right, it's
Well, I said when I first heard it that I didn't like it. I walked out of the room.
Did he?
But
he gonna cry in the car?
No, he's a fucking billionaire.
Riddle me
He's the man.
Riddle me this though. You know, I remember when I first interviewed you, you said Dre probably has 7 detoxes, different records, like full albums of different records.
Well, because he
near class.
He has a relentless work ethic.
But
So he works all the time. So he accumulates music all the time. He never leaves the studio without anything. You know, when I first started working with him, he told me that what Tupac would do. Tupac would come in there, he'll lay like the verse and then the hook and then leave. I mean, then he'll go to the next thing. Then he'll go to the next thing. He'll do 3 or 4 and then he'll listen back and then he'll perfect the one. And that's the one that he will leave with. That's why Tupac has so much music. Because every time he went to the lab, this dude doing 4 songs. Every fucking time. So Dre works just like that. This dude work as if he has nothing, as if he's broke. Like his work ethic is incredible. Like he's, you know, he got some shit coming out. He got a television show coming out that y'all gonna see. That's some exclusive shit.
I saw the trailer.
It's
man.
crazy, right?
I saw that shit is nuts.
It's incredible. It's basically, if you know Dre, it's what it goes on in his fucking mind.
It probably is real life.
But it goes on in his mind because he's just such a he's a fucking mad scientist, a genius. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like bringing thoughts that he have in his head to real life. And so it's incredible. So he took on acting like he took on music. So this dude became on some incredible acting shit. So I went down there. I think I went down there. They were shooting an orgy scene. It was
That's the clip I saw.
Unbelievable.
Yes.
And I seen one scene. It was cocaine everywhere. I was like, this shit gonna be crazy. That shit is fucking nuts.
But so you're just validating my question. What I'm about to ask. So we know Dre's vision is just, you know, he has 5 classic albums that he produced by himself. So with that quality control, with that ear of attention to detail, how was Compton able to even be released?
Well, you know, at the same time,
all the shit that he holds out.
Well, he has so much music. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so if I have,
but why was that the one?
Watch this. Check this out. If I cook 90 different dishes, and I'm tasting each one as I make them, but I sit them on the table and they just sitting in front of me. When I go eat, I'm gonna leave some shit out because I have so much food, and I'm gonna get full before I even get over here. That's what happened. So it's so much music. It's hard to be like, okay, yeah, you know. And then at the same time, you gotta understand something. This man, 50 years old. Mm-hmm. So coming from that regard, it was incredible. So let me preface that. It was whack, but the fact that he's 50 and put out an album and it still went #1, and I think it went #1 based on the fact that we waited 17 years for it. And then no singles, and then we waited for. And the movie was such an incredible piece of art. Yeah. I think that's what that's why people forgot about the album, because the movie was so great. It kind of it made it. He was able to sneak that album out to where it didn't affect his brand long time.
I think people come back to the VJ joint, VJ Chicago.
Well, it was in the movie, right?
All Falls Down.
All Falls Down.
It was in the movie.
To me, the greatest part about the whole album was Anderson. Anderson was elite through that shit. He was a standout piece on that motherfucker. That's what it was to me. When I listened to it, man, this motherfucker Anderson .Paak is talented as fuck. I mean, you know what Kendrick does, so it's not surprise you or whatever. But that's what to me. Anderson and then the diary record.
Yeah. So do you think, but knowing what you know, you say he has so many detox albums in the can. Do you actually think this is his last album?
Well, I mean, who knows? He can do what he wants. Just imagine that, if you could do what the fuck you want to do. Right. So he doesn't have to do any music. You know, I think Apple stock went up 9 points. What was that yesterday? What was that? And Jimmy made $30 million that day. I think Dre made that same amount. Mm-hmm. So what we talking about? So what we talking about?
Of everything you've heard, what is the single greatest song you've heard that will never see the light of day? If you can think of one. Holy shit.
Are you on it?
He got a bunch of shit though. He got some Jay-Z shit that's stupid. He got some Eminem, Nate Dogg shit that's crazy. Crazy. He got this joint with Bono that's fucking retarded. That vault is insane. It's insane. It's insane. He got some real shit, and I think.
Are you on any of these?
Of course. There's some crazy shit in there. I mean, I was around for a long time.
Listen, 30, 40 years down the line, when his estate is being handled, after he's gone, and somebody's gonna put this shit out, and it's gonna be fucking crazy.
I mean, it's some of my greatest experiences happening there. I mean, just as I remember, it was me, J. Cole, Kendrick, all us working on the joint together. You know what I'm saying? For that, you know what I mean? I remember fucking. One of my most memorable moments was when all the NWA was in there working on some shit for them. You know what I'm saying? Just because it's NWA. I don't give a fuck what. It's Cube, it's, you know. It's just, everybody that I have fucking admired musically have come through that studio. And like, press play or been in there and just like, you just with the best of the best and the elite. And sometimes when you're around Dre, he's such a down-to-earth type of guy that you forget he's Dr. Dre. And then you get home. M's the same way. You get home, you sitting at home, and you watching him in front of like 8 million people, and they talking about all the shit he does. You're like, damn, that's my dog. I can actually pick up the phone and call him. You know what I'm saying? And like every time I get a check over like 300,000, I call him just to thank him, just for like being who he was. You know what I'm saying? Who he is to me, because I wouldn't be here, dog. Like, if it wasn't for him and him, and you know, I wouldn't be in this position. I like, you know, regardless, people are like, oh, you never get your album out, but I got more than that. You know what I'm saying? I got like the experience of being around these dudes. Dre taught me so much about how to like the music business and artists, and Eminem taught me so much about music in general and rap. You know what I'm saying? And so I learned the things that I learned from them is what I can apply now to doing what I'm doing, and you know, making money for myself and feed my family, and then to feed the culture.
Right. So that's a common conception that people have. Like you said, you didn't get your album out. A lot of people think on the outside, they think, oh man, you signed an Aftermath, your album may be on the shelf. Mm-hmm. How many albums are on that shelf?
Oh, that shelf is serious. But you know what it is? The people that are on the shelf, it's not always, people try to blame Dre. That's not Dre's fault. I was on the shelf, that was my fault. Because I didn't pick a side as far as an artist. I didn't have an identity. I came in there a certain kind of way. Then I started to try to make music to appease them instead of trying to make music to appease the people that got me in that door. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I came from the underground Atlanta making certain kind of rap. People love me for that. And then when I got around Dre, I started trying to make shit that sounded like 50 and what they was doing. I should have just stayed in my lane and did what the fuck I was doing. Then the people would have forced it out. See, Kendrick, the people forced Kendrick out. They couldn't hold his album. Because the people wanted it. The Game, they couldn't hold it. They couldn't hold 50. You know what I'm saying? And Game, all these guys I'm talking about picked an identity. Game's of Blood, 50's a gangster. Kendrick's an intellectual. You know what I'm saying? You know who the fuck they rapping to when they rap. Stat Quo was all over the place. Like, this, that, and other. That's not Dre's fault. That was my fault. I lost myself.
That being said, real quick, you know, we had this conversation a couple weeks back, me and Marcel, and we discovered, like, looked at Obi Trice, you know, one of the lower rung Dr. Dre associates, Eminem associates, and he had a platinum album, you know.
Well, but at the same time, that was a run. That, like, you know, like 50 told me at the time, man, we can put out blank CDs, man. That's we can just put the blank CDs out. They gonna buy that shit.
That's what I mean. And so if everybody on the Canton was just selling like hotcakes, why didn't you just throw something out?
Well, because at the same time, there was a demand for, like, okay, this is what happened. I'm gonna say the story again. My album would have came out, but I fucked up. Because it was a song called Dance on It. M wrote the chorus, and M wanted me to say the chorus, and I thought it was not good. And if I would have said, yeah, that's it, that's the one we going with, then I would have got my album. But I tried to be on some, nah, I don't like that. That ain't a hit. Whoa. And I really was arguing with like the top selling rapper of all time on what a fucking hit was. What a dumb idiot I was.
Well, M wanted to put out, I mean, no disrespect, as I understand, M wanted to put out the track that he had with 50 on it as a single. 50 wanted to go with In the Club. So at least there's some difference in what might be a hit for different artists.
Well, at the same time, 50 at least had a fan base and people checking for him to where he should have an argument. I mean, people knew me, but it wasn't on the level of 50 Cent. I remember when 50 came to Atlanta, and it was like God came through there. All the Atlanta rappers, all the Outkast, all of them was down there to see him. Not Andre, but Big Boy. They was all down there to see him as if he was like the God MC.
Well, you were also one of the only artists that was signed to Dre.
Dre and him.
Right.
So both of them,
Yeah, so like...
So it was me, 50, that had that deal.
Right.
Game was signed to G-Unit and Dre.
Right.
M just got on his album. So it was me and 50 that had that deal. Buck and all them was on G-Unit. But for me, it was like it was a whole big family. And then it was so many things at the time I didn't understand. Like I used to get so frustrated because 50 would never do a song with me. Right. You know, I'd be like, oh, he don't like me? But it's not that he didn't like me. But what did he gain? Why would he do a song with me and I'm not signing him? He's the hottest shit going. He need to save his shit for people that he's going to be making money off of. You know what I'm saying? So
I feel like that must have been part of the complication, though. I mean, you're signed to both Shady and Aftermath, right? Obi Trice was just under Shady.
Yeah.
Anybody under 50, they didn't seem to have a problem coming out. Rakim had problems, for example.
Well, Rakim, it wasn't his raps, it was his hooks. I mean, 51st album was Rakim. All them beats is Rakim's beats.
I just can't imagine a world that you're signed to just straight Shady without Aftermath and we don't get that project. I think that you would have been like Obi Trice.
But this is the issue. Obi didn't argue with Eminem about what this got some teeth. Obi was like, got some shit. That's it.
My God.
But it came. But he didn't argue. The song that them wanted to put out on me, my exact quote was, I'll put it out if you stay on the hook. And then I said, well, if you give me $1 million, then I'll put it out. And that when I said that, me and Eminem went like this. It was a rap. He was mad as shit. This, like, literally, Dre was like, yo, you made him mad. And then, like, the next day, I, like, apologized, like, with tears in my eyes. Because I'm like, I'm watching my fucking career, like, go down to Dre. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Then that night we did My Salilable. Remember that song? Mm-hmm. It's like Jay-Z, 50, Dre, Cash is all us on it. And we did that song right after my long apology. Jay-Z was on that shit. I'm like, okay, cool. I guess he cool with me. He put me on a song with Jay-Z. But no, he was not cool with me.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Yeah. It was one of them things like, yeah, okay, cool, but I'm not fucking with you. It was over. And then Dre told me, you know, him ain't fucking with you no more, right? It's just us. And that's when I knew I was done.
That was it.
I knew I wasn't gonna come out with no do shit. Like I think they're gonna put like John Connor album out on accident. Okay. And I told like one of the A&Rs, I'm like, I love John, but like, what is that gonna do? Like, well, we looking at you have to be real. You gotta be realistic about what's going on here. What's happening? I think John's the incredible MC, probably one of the dopest motherfuckers. But you being able to rap ain't enough no more, man. It ain't enough for you to be able to rap. It got to be more to that story. You know, you got to be compelling. Like, you know what I'm saying? You can't just be out here rapping. Another black dude rapping that he from the hood. All of us is from the hood. All of us went through struggle. What the fuck is gonna set you apart? That's why you see Uzi Vert and all these motherfuckers with pink fucking hair. That's why Young Thug wore a Hooters shirt in this fucking video. Because in order to be different from everybody else, you can't do what everybody else do. You know what I'm saying? Because we look up to our stars. We don't look down to them. We look up to them, regardless of what we want to say. And we can call them gay or whatever we want, but the biggest star of all time, Michael Jackson, had a monkey, held hands with midget men, so-called molested kids. You see what I'm saying? And one of the biggest stars wore ass-out pants and heels. Prince. These are icons. You know what I'm saying? Then David Bowie, Elton John. So all this shit about, look at the history of what's going on. You can't come out with a sweatshirt on, you know, and think you just finna pop off.
Right.
Because we done seen that 9 million times. We know what the fuck is that doing?
Just every nigga.
You can't do it. I remember when Kendrick had a regular ass haircut. I was like, dog, that ain't gonna work. Got that nappy top. Everybody started rocking that. Shit became a thing. You know what I'm saying? Now, he got his hair. I tell him, I'll never cut your fucking hair. J. Cole, hair. Never cut your hair. We talk about it. So it's like, you know,
You got a whole breakdown on that.
The company man never cut your hair.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? They said, well, we can't cut it. He cut it, but he ain't cut that shit all the way the fuck off. He ain't get the ball.
Well, he's the biggest star in the world.
But I think it makes sense. I mean, look, you've got incredible experience. You've had, you know, probably one of the most unique label situations ever, careers ever. You've been around some of the biggest stars ever. Now you're managing, right? You've got artists that are signed to you. What's the balance between aesthetic and brand versus the quality of music that you're looking for right now with artists?
Well, you know, for me, because I know how to make the music, I look more so what the lane you can fit in, because I know I can make it be what it needs to be. I can provide the quality for it. We can teach you that. Yeah. I've been groomed and trained by Drake and M to know how to make it sound good. I know when I can hear a beat and know that's a good beat. It might not be the smash, but that might not be what that artist is and what that artist needs. Everybody is not meant to be the biggest star in the world. You know what I'm saying? That's not what this shit is about. People think, oh, I'm gonna come out and I'm gonna smash everything. That ain't for everybody. You know what I'm saying? What's wrong with De La Soul? What's wrong with that?
Nothing.
What's wrong?
They Grammy nominated.
What's wrong?
Still eat.
What's wrong with Talib Kweli? What's wrong with that life?
That's a long argument. We're not gonna.
No, but I'm saying
Everything.
But but listen to what I'm saying. That man pays his bills, take care of his family.
Oh, yeah.
He is good. Now he might not be fucking Drake, but that's Drake. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You don't compare yourself to everybody else. Do what you do well, and you're going to be able to sustain yourself and make a living. And that's what this shit is really about. That you are able to make a living for yourself. Yeah. Don't concern yourself about someone else's success and someone else's path. Concern yourself with your success and your path, and talk to the people that can relate to what you go through and communicate with them. Because if you do that, then they're gonna champion you to the rest of the world. So for me, who you are is damn near more important than what the fuck you, than your skill level. Because we can figure that out.
Speaking of importance, does a classic album still matter?
Obviously, you know, but you know, it's all subject to opinion. Because I've heard people say albums I think are classic, like Good Kid, Mad City is a classic, and I think damn near all of Kanye shit is classic. You know what I'm saying? But I've heard people tell. What's crazy is when 808 and Heartbreak came out, I thought it was garbage. Yep. I was like, this shit is trash.
Because it is.
No, but it's not garbage. What it is it's revolution. No, listen, it's revolutionary. That album gave birth to all the shit we hearing now.
It did.
Everything, all that auto-tune, singing shit, Drake, all that shit that's going on right now, it gave birth to it. You gotta understand that was that's an era. Like Kanye is like Kendrick, Drake, all that shit fall under that. Ty Dolla $ign, all that shit falls under what he was doing on 808s and Heartbreak. Just like what Future first was doing with Karate Chop, he gave birth to Migos, all this shit, Uzi Vert, all these motherfuckers, Ray Shrimmer are kids of that. So when you are somebody that creates a record that gives birth to that much to a lane, how can you not call it a classic? You know what I'm saying? So
I think you call it influential. If I can't make it through a project without pressing skin too many times,
it's not classic.
But at the end of the day, you hear what you said? If I can't.
Yeah, that's no. I agree with you.
So classic is all about how it feels.
I agree with you.
Well, 808s is the ultimate revisionist history album, in my opinion. It's the one that I swear to God, when it came out, you're the only one now that doesn't like that I've heard of now. At the time it came out, everybody I talked to thought it was trash.
Thought it was garbage.
Thought it was like, oh, another auto-tune album. And now I can't find a person. Like, where are they? Where are all these people that I can't remember who they are.
I fall in line with the time.
Well, people,
I like Love Lockdown.
People don't admit when they're wrong.
Right. Yo.
That's just what it is. That's just people. People just all we remember is the fucking the things that like the successes, but we don't admit the wrongs. Like Akon used to sit in my sessions. He gave me his demo with all these hits on it. I threw that shit out my window because I heard him singing.
It's a shakedown.
I said, this nigga got some shit plugged in his nose. This nigga's trash. I threw that. All that shit was on a CD that he gave me. You understand me? With nobody else rapping it on.
Oh shit.
Young and you wine. All that shit was on one CD this nigga gave me. He used to sit in my fucking sessions in the back of the motherfuckers. He gave me that CD. I listened to I went through it. I was like, this shit's trash. Threw it out my fucking window. And what I'm telling you, I'm bringing it up because every time I see that dude, I tell him, dog, I'm sorry. I was so wrong.
Were you on bar mode though? Were you looking for bars?
But it's just another thing. J. Cole. I used to tell him, dog, man, I don't know what you finna do, man. You know, this rapidy rap, I don't know if this shit gonna pop. I said, you gotta put some melody in there. He do the melody, but the fact that I even said that I didn't know that was gonna go, I was wrong. I also told Dre, dog, you think people gonna pay $300 for headphones? He was like, absolutely. I follow the plug. I didn't think. I'm like $300 for some. I'm like, dog, $300 for headphones though? You think people got that kind of money? He was like, absolutely. And look at that. He's a billionaire.
$1 billion.
And I was wrong on all that shit.
I don't know if you're wrong about J. Cole. Cole wasn't super melody driven. Mixtape Cole wasn't. He became more melody.
I remember the conversation like it was yesterday.
You might have inspired him.
I told him, and I feel like every time
you might need credit for J. Cole.
But I feel like every time he said, people say that I wouldn't make without no melody. I remember every time he says that, I feel like he's talking to me because I remember vividly sitting in the studio with him, and when they had just signed Jay Electronica, and I'm like, dog. Jay Electronica, the spitter. I said, you gotta provide something else separate from that to separate yourself. I said, stay on the girls, but you need melody. Yeah. I said, you talk to college kids that want to drop out that same kind of lane, but you gotta stay on the melodies. I said, you come with this rapidy rap without melodies, that shit ain't gonna work. I'm telling you, that shit ain't gonna go.
So I got a question for you.
It's magic.
I think you got that one right. I don't think you should put that.
It was a wrong though, because I didn't think it was gonna do that well.
I do for
that
sure
shit
got that
blew
one
the
right.
fuck up.
Congratulations. I'm gonna give you that one.
I didn't think I was gonna do that well.
When it comes to J. Cole, in my head, in my mind, and maybe just me, but his mixing is horrible. And it throws me
The way
off.
it sounds?
Yeah, and it throws me off sonically on everything he does.
You know what I would love to hear? I would love to hear if I worked on one of his projects because I feel like J. Cole, if you're a hip hop head, you'll notice you listen to his album. J. Cole, one of his favorite rappers is Game. If you listen to him, he sounds just like Game. He raps, his cadences, his pockets, all that shit is Game. I'm telling you, y'all go back and listen to it. So, like, I think if I worked on one of his records, we wouldn't have that issue. So,
I hear a lot of his records, and to me, it's like the snare is the same as the vocals, which is the same as the hook, which is the same as the drums. Like, where is the?
Well, I think a lot of times, see, he one of them artists. Like Gucci Mane said some smart ass shit, you know, because people think Gucci Mane one of the smartest motherfuckers in the music industry, but that's neither here nor there. He said some smart ass shit, and this kind of maybe J. Cole has a mentality. He said, when I go in the booth and my chain swinging or somebody walk in, and he's like, I don't change that because it's the feeling. You know, one of my producers work with Jeremiah all the time. Jeremiah damn near don't even, they be mixing the 2 tracks. He don't even change the shit because some artists rely on the feeling instead of actually executing the mixing and shit. Mm-hmm. It's more about the feeling. Like when you look at Mary J, her first 2-3 albums, she was singing out of key that whole time, but it was the feeling behind it. Keisha Cole, it's the feeling. You get wrapped up into the feeling of it. Like, did we really give a fuck how Beanie Siegel's record was mixed? No, we just hear that shit. It just sound like, damn, that shit raw as fuck. You see what I'm saying? Dre is different. That shit is like a well-oiled machine. So you gonna get. Yeah. It's a different type of animal what you dealing with.
And I think that's what it is for me, because I'm from Detroit, but I grew up on West Coast hip hop.
Yeah, we don't care where you're from. No.
But I grew up, forget that, I grew up on West Coast hip hop.
How happy are you about Detroit? Because that shit, that downtown used to look like zombies used to be in that bitch. That shit, y'all came up. Then y'all had that, then y'all had the mayor that sold crack and was killing motherfuckers.
All of them?
Yeah,
the hip hop mayor, right?
Yeah,
all of them.
He was cool as fuck though. He was all.
Dude, my friend, I have a friend in Dallas. In Dallas,
under the jail, right? Stay his ass there.
Yeah, my friend in Dallas hit Uber, said look for a black Navigator, license plate says Kwame. He gets in the car, he looks at him, he's like, "Are you Kwame Kilpatrick?" He's like, "Yeah." He's looking at Google, he's like, "I thought you were in jail right now." He's like, "No, he was out for like 6 weeks or something. Uber, I don't know if they still don't. They didn't do back criminal whatever. So Kwame Kilpatrick was an Uber driver in Dallas. True story."
That's crazy.
Talk about a fall from grace.
Couldn't
I mean,
go back home.
that's like Detroit
Shit
politics in a
happens.
nutshell. Like the former Detroit City Council president, went from being Detroit City Council president and news anchor to raping little boys to busting tables in New York
Let me tell you something.
to jail.
I was watching the New Edition shit last night, and there was a scene where Ronnie DeVoe was in real estate class, and they was just talking about how, oh damn, he must be doing bad because he in real estate class. I was saying to myself, yo, when you do music and then you don't do it anymore, it's really a hard transition for artists, especially if they had some kind of fame. Because like really what you do, that's why you see a lot of guys, or athletes too, that's why you see a lot of them trying to do something illegal, because it's a pride thing that they won't go get a regular job. Because think about it, if you focus 5-10 years on your music career and then you want to go back and jump into the job world, who's going to hire you? You have no fucking experience to do anything.
They started as kids too.
Exactly.
They have
If it
no
wasn't for
experience.
my ability to navigate and be working the business of this, and what I've learned from Dre and Paul Rosenberg and Eminem and my business partner DJ Moore Millie, like if it wasn't for that, to pick up that knowledge, Steve Berman, to be around these type of people, my ass would be out here trying to like fucking sell drugs or something, because I'd be caught up in my ego, like that oh man, I don't want to go get that job at UPS or Burger King, because we like, oh, damn, Stack Quo work at FedEx. You know what I'm saying?
Starbucks get you insurance.
Dog, I remember the dude from what's that group? DRS? This is for homeless.
Homeless.
I went to Jamba Juice. I was on my way to the studio. Swear to God on everything. One of the dudes was working at Jamba Juice. He played me him, and I'm just like, and in my mind, I looked down on that man at the time, like, damn.
So they weren't like a big.
It don't matter. But that's what I'm saying. That's the mentality. That's the mentality that we have. That's fucked up. But that's a fucked up mentality to look down on somebody to because I did that. That was fucked up that I thought that man. That man needed to make money. Yeah. And get actually he's a real man to even go and do that. To say, you know, I don't give a fuck about it. I was in DRS. I was proud of that. That was that time. But you know what? It's time to take care of business, and this is what I gotta do. I'm not gonna try to take the easy way out and put myself in a situation where I gotta be away from my family and my friends. You know?
Being a gangster, be caught in a gangster.
And that ain't who you is. Right. Be who you are.
Where are you at on this on Game right now? I think Game has had an incredible few years. He put out 2.5, and he put out 1992, which are all incredible projects. I feel like he reinforced the meekness in Meek Mill. Lyrically, just to be honest, I think his projects were better. I think the bars he served him were incredible. When you start looking at Game historically, where does he fall? Has Game reached the top 10 conversation in your opinion yet? He's got multiple projects now.
You know, for me, he is. You know what I'm saying? Because he got one of the greatest voices ever. You know, I tell him all the time, he really literally can rap the ABCs. Dre like that too. Like top 10 voices, like Scarface, Nas. These dudes' voices is like literally like they can fucking get a storybook and read it to you. They can narrate shit. You know what I'm saying? Like James Earl Jones type shit. The Game got that. And then lyrically, he's like incredible. You know what I'm saying? You know, he can paint pictures. He hits you with the gangster shit, and he understands who he is and what he is. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't try to fucking be something that he's not. He's what he is, you know what I'm saying? You say something about him, he'll slap the shit out you, and you know that is what it is. He's never changed or switched up what he was on. And so I think he's a he's a genuine guy, you know what I'm saying? Like the whole Meek Mill, not to say meekness, and because I fuck with Meek. You know, I think Meek's issue was he just wasn't prepared for that. Because as good as he raps,
any of them.
Yeah,
even when he started.
Yeah, well, like the Drake thing, he thought that was gonna go a different way.
Yeah, he thought that was gonna be enough.
Well, because he's Canadian. You know, a lot of us Americans had this image of Canadians like they soft and they, you know what I'm saying? Like, but Drake he's really an underground hip hop dude.
Well, not even just that though. I feel like Meek was like, oh man, I'm about to drop this bombshell that he had ghostwriters and he not gonna be able to come back. And then Life was like, you don't fucking care. What else you got?
Well, no, what it is what he does. What he didn't understand that Drake's fans don't give a fuck.
Don't give a fuck.
Drake ain't rapping to hip hop heads. Now we respect him because when he want to go bar, he can bar us off. But Drake is talking to women. Yeah. He talks to females.
He underestimated his competitor. And then if you want to get real with it, Kendrick had already told us.
Well, yeah, yeah. I mean, not to put that out there.
Well,
yeah.
Drake has been in more confidence than people give him credit for too.
Like,
people think he started when he
said, Common.
Well, when he said diss me, you'll never reply for it. People thought that was just like, oh, I'm not gonna be battling. They didn't look at any of the stuff he went through in Canada. He spent a lot of time in Canada going back and forth with
that's all he did.
One cast, he got held up at gunpoint one time. Yeah. He got jumped outside of a hotel party one time. Yeah. He killed two. He went through some real stuff. So, if you're gonna come out somebody with some Twitter fingers, make sure you understand that they're really.
And like I said, and I still am. I love Game. I think Meek is an incredible MC, man. I don't think less of him as an MC. I still think he's an incredible MC. I just think his albums have not been as good because he doesn't have the infrastructure. Artists are like businesses. You know what I'm saying? You can have a great product or a great burger or a great sandwich, but if it's not marketed correctly, or you don't have somebody in your circle to tell you, oh, that's the song. No, that's not the song. You know what I'm saying? Or we're gonna treat it like a book. We're gonna start this is a table of contents. We're gonna take the listener on a journey. How should it flow? I feel like a lot of his projects, he just throws songs on there.
Or if his label head don't drop a mixtape the same day he drop his mixtape.
And then he has when you have a circle and everybody relies on you financially and rely on what you're doing, it's hard for them people to tell you, especially if you're emotional about your shit. It becomes difficult for somebody to tell you that this shit is trash. Like what makes Kendrick so incredible is the fact that Top Dog and everybody around him have no problem with telling him if something's not the shit. Now, it rarely comes out that he makes a song that's not incredible, but the fact that Top can say, that shit is not good, that's crazy. You understand that it's difficult, like, to tell somebody that? Like, me sitting in the room with Game, like, I don't like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That shit.
Well,
you got to do it a certain way. I'm not gonna do it if it's 8 million people in the room.
Now,
turn that. Yo, that's trash. No, then I'm gonna get beat up.
Real quick stat. You just said a second ago. You listened to Compton. You said it's trash. You walked out the room. It sounds like you're pretty comfortable, and that's not a Drake. That sounds like you're pretty comfortable.
I didn't say it was trash in the room.
Oh, okay.
I stepped out the room.
You just walked out the room.
And then he came out the room and I said I didn't like it.
Oh, gotcha.
That's what that was. I didn't do that. I would never.
I thought you dropped the mic.
Yeah, I thought that's what I thought you did.
No.
Real talk, I'm saying that.
Wait, real quick. That was difficult. That was difficult to tell him.
Well, it's hard because everybody was going so crazy about what was going on. And I'm in a different situation because I have heard what didn't make the album. In comparison to what didn't make his album, it's trash. When you compare it to what some other people else is doing, it's probably great. You know what I'm saying? That's making that type of music. Right. But I'm trying to compare. I'm comparing it to what he has that I know he has that he didn't use. That shit is garbage because he got some shit sitting in there, but it becomes old to you. You talking about he put his last album out 2000, and then when did Compton come out? 14, 15? When did it
15.
You talking about 15 years. So if you make something in 2005, you've been technically listening to it for 9 years, it gets old to you. It's the new shit. It's like dudes with new, you got a wonderful woman at home, cook, clean, do everything for you, but then you see a girl on TV, don't even look as good. Damn, I wonder what that feels like. Because you forget, it's the new pussy. You know what I'm saying? It's the new song.
I still think that's the best quote ever when you said, y'all were the greatest practice team of all time.
That was Jimmy Iovine. Said that. He said that we was like, what if the Patriots never played in a real game? They just did preseason games. He said that's what y'all are. Y'all he's like y'all just practicing and just got all this great shit in practice, but y'all never play a real game. That was Jimmy.
It's funny. I've been in the studio, but like United busy, and I've seen Busy play a song, and can now just walk into the console and shit whack, hit turn the arm out the fuck out.
Yeah.
So it's like to have that.
It's important to have that type of infrastructure to where you're gonna listen to your people. You know what I'm saying? And then the way I base how I judge somebody's opinion is I just listen to what they listen to. You know, I'm gonna listen to the music you like, and then I'm not gonna. If I see you only listening to Yachty, Vert, Famous Dex, I'm not gonna play you some fucking soulful sound. I'm not gonna play you. Oh, check this Kendrick joint out.
Yeah, it's probably not gonna connect.
Not gonna do that. It doesn't make sense. I'm gonna put it in your. I'm gonna play you some Low Gangs, Stephen Cannon, that type of shit, so you can see what that is. You gotta see what people are into before you start playing the music, because that affects their opinion all the time. Unless they're, you guys are professionals and you guys you put everything in context, so you're able to hear Famous Dex and then separate it from J. Cole, and you hear J. Cole and then separate it from Drake, and you're able to decipher that, because that's why you guys are who you are. But I'm just saying, you just bring some girl to the studio and her ass shop at Rainbow and got a weed all the way down her feet. You know what I'm saying? And you trying to play her some shit, some intellectual shit. She like, hell no, nigga, this is some bullshit. You can't, you know what I mean? You gotta know your audience, know your personnel.
One thing that we do see with our audience a lot, when you look at To Pimp a Butterfly, our audience is pretty split on that.
I think it's a classic.
I think so.
But because what I enjoy about that album is you looking at a dude that was at the height of his success, and he said, you know what? I'm gonna do what the fuck I want to do. I'm gonna do what the fuck I don't care. I'm gonna do what I want to do. This ain't about that for me. And regardless, even in him doing it, he still has a song from that album that still gets more play than some of the songs from the first album.
Yeah.
You hear We Gonna Be Alright more than you hear Pull Up, Drink, because that song We Gonna Be Alright, based on what's going on in our society, has become We Shall Overcome.
Yeah, especially right now.
Yeah. So when somebody tells you it's not a classic, how can you say that when that shit is living longer than any other records from the first shit? You don't hear Poetic Justice no more.
A certain unnamed artist, he's not here to defend himself, but he told me before even the album cover, the album title was released. Doc played it to him, and he looked at him after he played. He said, "You need to figure this shit out," kind of like what you did with J. Cole. And
he told him that.
Yeah, he told him, and Kendrick was kind of like taken aback, but obviously he was wrong.
Well, yeah, because he made a mistake. You know what it is? In my conversations for the new shit, because his new album's crazy, by the way, just so y'all know. Oh yeah, the new album's stupid. We're gonna put that out there on national airwaves. He's to me the best. Maybe Andre 3000, because but on some just he the best because he's able to. He morphs his shit. He's totally different than what he did before. He's totally different than what he did the first time. And that's why I compare it to Andre and Big Boy, because Outkast gave it to you different every time. You know what I'm saying? So it's easy to do the same album over and over again. And people like certain melodies and certain type of shit. You can do the same cadences. Yeah, okay. You got a great run and we respect it. It's dope. But for me, for you to come out every time and do some other shit and still win with that, you fucking are a monster. It was insane.
I feel like with Kendrick, if you really pay attention to Pimp a Butterfly, to me was the obvious transition. Because Section 80, Good Kid, Mad City, to Pimp a Butterfly made sense that it was next. Yeah. Like, even when you go back to Overly Dedicated to now, like his music elevated a level of consciousness each project. So To Pimp a Butterfly was the common sense album for me that was gonna come. So I don't never understand but people go, oh man, I'm a Kendrick fan. I love Kendrick, and they don't like To Pimp a Butterfly.
Well, because they want the hits.
But Kendrick has never been a radio hit.
Well, no, Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe. That was a vibe. That shit came on the radio. He had songs that was on the radio.
Poetic Justice was a hit.
Poetic Justice in Swimming Pools.
I don't like To Pimp a Butterfly. I've been listening to Kendrick since Training Day.
One thing on Butterfly that I feel like he should get a lot of props for, that I don't think anyone else, a lot of big stars in hip hop wouldn't do. If Jay-Z made To Pimp a Butterfly, Rhapsody's verse would have been Nicki Minaj. the Bilal would have been the Weeknd.
Yeah.
It's like he could have done what all the other commercial artists do, and just get the biggest name to do it. He got who was best for the song.
Yeah.
Fuck what anyone else thinks. Didn't he have Rasan Patterson on that album?
Yeah. I remember.
haven't heard that since a while.
He's always been like that because I remember what's the light skinned dude that was on cartoons and series? Gunplay. Nobody gave a fuck about Gunplay when Kendrick put him on that song. But I remember me and Kendrick talking about how ill his flow was. We used to always talk about it because he got one of the most unique flows ever. If you listen to how he flow, nobody flow like him.
I like it.
I ain't seen the back of my eyelids under 2 hours. It just never connected, but just on some MC shit, that shit crazy. Like when people just shit on the Migos, can't do that. Them motherfuckers is like percussionists, dog. They sound like African. They raps sound like drums.
Yeah.
That shit is. You like what? These niggas is the. You know what I'm saying? You gotta respect. So for him, we not judging you on what the world say about you. We judging you on what we think about you. Like Thundercat was all over that album. Most people didn't know who the fuck he was. That bass player, Thundercat, and wore the weird clothes. But we knew who Thundercat was. This motherfucker is incredible. He coming to fuck with it. Old girl from Sunny Moon, Sarah. Yeah. Sarah Wise. I might know who the fuck she is. You know what I'm saying? But we know Sarah is incredible. You know what I mean? So we don't. He don't get caught up in that. It's like NBA players. It's who the fans and when fans vote certain players on the All-Star team, but then you ask the players and the coaches and the GMs, they'll tell you who really like a dog and who, you know what I'm saying? So same type of deal.
And by the way, huge props to you. Like you said, people don't ever admit when they're wrong. You've talked about all the L's you've taken on a business sense, man. What's your biggest win? What's the thing you're most proud of from a business standpoint?
The biggest thing I'm proud of is the fact that I'm still here and able to make money and feed my family off hip hop.
No, sorry. I mean like something you suggested and someone thought no, but you were sure yes. And
Kendrick Lamar.
Okay.
Well, that's a big success. You know, that's a point. I can't. Off the top of my head, that's a good question because I've done a lot of things that y'all probably don't know fucking about.
Why we asked?
And I just I can't really think. I can't think. It's a bunch of shit though. I can't even fucking think. But I just because we've been talking about Kendrick, that's one of the first things that comes to my mind. Because I remember him coming in, and I remember Dre kind of wavering a little bit, and I remember telling Dre that I had like $100 grand in my account, and telling Top Dog I'll give him every dime that I had to be a part of what Kendrick is doing because this dude is it's special. I told Dre it's like Eminem special. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's when I realized that I had become not MC no more, but just I had evolved into something else.
MC
because as a rapper, you never admit that somebody is special. You just because it's a competitive thing. You know what I'm saying? But
that called a A&R?
Yeah, I had evolved at that point to be like, okay, I know what it is. You know what I'm saying? So
you need to take more credit for J. Cole with the melodies. You really need to. His whole album, is a singing album now.
He's just evolving.
He listens that well.
He's just evolving.
You need more melodies.
I remember that.
You need to take credit for that. That's not a miss.
I missed because I didn't think. I think he sold 130,000 his first week. I didn't think it was when he first came out. I didn't think it was gonna be that big because it was like I was like, wow, that shit. That shit just.
I'm still amazed by that effect.
Yeah, because he was really J. Cole's a real MC, man. Like, let's just keep it 100. People just like him, you know what I'm saying? But he like a real. His album he just put out, he just on that bitch rapping. You know what I'm saying? He ain't, with Drake give us that, he cross us over. We give us some pop hits, you know what I'm saying? Controller, you know what I'm saying? Right. Cole ain't give you that. That motherfucker spitting, you know what I'm saying?
DX Live. Y'all loving this conversation? Tell a friend to tell a friend. Share it. Hashtag it. Stat, we appreciate you coming through. Can you fade us out to some music?
Okay, well, it's on my phone.
What you got?
How's that gonna work? It's not gonna be loud.
Yeah, of course it is. Bluetooth.
Oh, really?
The power of magic.
The power of the internet.
Doesn't Dr. Dre own Bluetooth?
Only problem. Oh wow. I wish he did. I wish I was part of that. I want to do too. Okay, so what's y'all shit?
Look for the HK Onyx. HK Harmon.
Onyx makes me think about the strip club back in Atlanta.
Not
I've been
even
there.
Onyx on the feet.
I've been there.
This rapper's name Onyx?
No, I know. I would have thought the rappers.
Oh yeah. Oh, you know what's crazy? I just spoke to Sticky Fingers. He called me.
They was out here for like an old school concert with them.
I don't know. He was looking for Drake or something. I gave him.
Did it come up?
No.
Are you connected to it on track?
I am.
I don't
Yeah,
think he
yeah.
has it now.
Yo, you know what? Next time. Y'all need to just let me come up here and play music.
Hey.
When can I do that?
So, what are you doing next
When
week?
you-
What are you doing tomorrow, nigga?
When can I come play music? How about that? Because I don't want to just play one. I got like 8 artists. They're going to be like, why you ain't play my shit? When
Look, I think it's a good idea if we come back next week.
Stack Wall, DX Live Part 2.
Next week.
We're talking about all the Kendrick, Dr. Dre, Eminem, but yeah, let's get into the future.
Yeah, next week.
You got a song called The Future.
I do have a song called The Future. That shit's like 9 minutes. I appreciate y'all having me this week and next week.
Always.
What's that date? Because I'm going out of town next week too. I'll look it up right now. What date is that?
Hey, it's a good day. But
ninth.
Tonight.
Okay, cool.
You hear?
I should be good. I got a meeting, but I'm coming.
You're going to do it.
I'm coming through.
We're going to work out the times. Next up, we got the Pineapple Poppy in the building. Stop him. Don't go anywhere. Get those pizza rolls ready. DX Live. We'll be right
Gotta
back.
stop mentioning pizza rolls.
No.
You put pineapples in your